Trojan fans, circle your calendars. It's important.
You are Locked On Trojans, your daily podcast on the USC Trojans, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Fight on, everyone. I'm your host, Mark Holkin, and thank you for making Locked On USC your first listen every day, even on Sundays. Whether you're watching this show on YouTube or wherever you're going to download your podcast, this show is free. I appreciate your support. Do me a favor. I can really appreciate your support if you become a subscriber on YouTube. It's free. Click that thumbs up button. That means a lot to the show, and I don't want you to ever miss one episode. Click that bell notification button, and you're covered. I suppose the standard answer is whenever USC looks poorly prepared, it's because the other team circled the game on their calendar. For the third week in a row, USC has struggled to put away a team that they should have beaten quite easily. USC at home struggled to a 43-41 triple overtime victory over the Arizona Wildcats. Now, credit to Arizona. They're much improved under second-year head coach Jedd Fisch. With that said, USC was a 22-point favorite at home. Look, I'm tired. I'm frustrated, and I'm looking for some straight answers. I remember when night games at the Coliseum, they had that special feeling to me. I really enjoyed them. I looked forward to tailgating all day, then getting inside the Coliseum, playing under the stars, under the lights, and having a really good time. But I'm older. And the games, tend to take forever nowadays with the way the game is played offensively. TV timeouts, everything involved. And they were supposed to be cutting back on how long the games take, but it's not working out. Now, if I could go home directly after the game, no problem. But I can't. It's an issue. So when the Trojans do not play up to, finger quotes, their expectations, it makes these games even more challenging. And not, for me as a fan, but also as a working journalist. I use that term very loosely. And especially when it comes to that point where I have to do the Q&A with the head coach, Lincoln Riley, and the players, the carefully chosen players after the game, which after this game, after their victory Saturday night, I think we were done talking to the players and coach around midnight. Yeah. So Sunday morning. Now, following two lackluster performances on the road, Lincoln Riley had a chance to bring his team back home, get him straight, sort of hit the reset button because we know what's coming up next week. However, I did not anticipate the Trojans coming home and possibly playing their worst game of the season. Excuse me. I mean, I think something right now has to give at this point, because either USC is going to improve over these next 6 games, or these close wins, the last 3, they're going to turn into close losses, if not a blowout loss. We already know every week USC lines up to play the opponent that has circled their calendar. It's their marquee game. USC is coming to town. We're going to play USC. We beat the Trojans. We get to puff out our chest, brag to the world, pretend that we're Tulane for a day. Yeah. Sorry, I had to go there. So I'm not quite sure why Lincoln Riley needs to continuously remind us that when the other team plays up to their abilities, but USC does not, it's because they circled the calendar. I don't buy that. Pardon me. You can semi-explain that away when you're playing on the road. Totally makes sense. Standard coach speak answer. winning on the road is challenging. Everybody knows that. But watching USC's defense give up big leads, and sometimes with the assistance of their own offense, that's a cause for concern, and questions need to be answered without any type of coach speak being used. This was Coach Riley's opening statement after the game. What a college football game. I give Arizona a lot of credit. I'm not going to make a lot of excuses in any way. They played well, played a lot better than us, certainly at some times in the game. I mean, anytime you go down 17-0, you've got a mountain to climb. And we certainly had a lot of moments where we didn't play very well in the beginning of the game. But our teams fight and resolve to get back and find a way to win that. With some of the craziness that happened in this game, I'm really proud. A lot of teams don't win this game. On the road, they probably don't. I agree, Coach. At home, they better win this type of game. He continued. You go down 17-0 and you don't recover. You have kind of the sequence where at the end of the game, and you don't refocus up and get the job done and win it in overtime. And we had multiple opportunities where I think if our culture wasn't strong enough, then I think we would have folded and we'd be sitting here without a smile on our face right now. So it feels good to be 6-0, a lot to correct, a lot of new battles getting ready to come up, and I'm proud of this team for finding a way to win this game. Absolutely. Zero issue with USC finding a way to win this game because they look for every way to give it away. I mean, in the literal sense of couging it, USC was like, how do we do this? Let's figure out how to coug it. We hear the players, we hear the coaches say it. They said it again after the game. The longer you go, the better we get. I guarantee, I promise, no coach wants to go into overtime. I mean, you accept the result, but you don't need to go that long into a game to see if you're getting better. And personally, these eyes are having a hard time finding where the team is developing and getting better on a weekly basis. So for those of you who think I'm exaggerating and possibly overreacting, let's listen to what a former player has to say about what he just saw this past weekend. This is from Trojans safety linebacker, Dion Bailey. I really try my best to be positive and encouraging, but rewatching this game has me feeling secondhand embarrassment. No USC defense should ever put this kind of tape out. If you cannot give 100% effort and tackle, you should be standing by the coach. Something has to give. So look, I'm not the one out there setting the narrative. I'm part of it, but this is a much bigger picture. We can bury our heads in the sand and say everything's going to be just fine. We're past the Clay Helton era. We're 6-0, and let's just enjoy the wins. Lincoln Riley and the team might be enjoying the win, but they know they've got a lot of work to do, and they know they're not going to come anywhere close to sniffing a championship, national or Pac-12, if they continue to play at the level they're playing. So, everyone, hold on, because it's going to be a roller coaster ride. We're going to talk about that in the next segment. These days, every new potential hire can feel like a high-stakes wager for your small business, and you want to be 100% certain that you have access to the best qualified candidates available. That's why you have to check out LinkedIn Jobs. LinkedIn Jobs helps you find the right people for your team faster, and they do it for free. And as easy as it is to use LinkedIn to find a job, it is just as easy to create a free job posting on LinkedIn Jobs. So once you add your job listing, you're then going to take your job and the purple hashtag hiring frame, and you're going to attach it to your own LinkedIn profile to spread that word. LinkedIn is going to provide you with simple tools like screening questions, and that makes it really easy to focus on the candidates with just the right skills and experience so you can quickly prioritize who you'd like to interview and hire. Recruiting the right person for your team means a better product. It's why small businesses rate LinkedIn Jobs #1, delivering quality hires versus the leading competitors. LinkedIn Jobs helps you find the qualified candidates you want to talk to faster. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/LockedOnCollege. That's linkedin.com/LockedOnCollege to post your job for free. Terms and conditions will apply. So the college football season is here. And this season, Locked On is kicking up our coverage. Each Friday, Locked On will go live from 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. Eastern on every Locked On College YouTube channel. Locked On College Football Live will cover the college football playoff implications, the conference rivalry games, and they're going to go in depth like only Locked On can, including insight and analysis from our stable of Locked On College hosts covering their team every day. You can find Locked On College Football Live every Friday from 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. Eastern on any Locked On College YouTube channel. You won't want to miss it. So, who does not enjoy a good roller coaster ride? I mean, they're filled with excitement, right? By the way, this is just my Sunday instant reaction show. I will give you my full breakdown on USC's victory over Arizona on my Monday episode of Locked On USC, but I needed to give you something to taste, something to kind of nibble on while I get some sleep, which I will be doing right when the show is done. So, as I said, who doesn't like a good roller coaster? I mean, they're filled with excitement. They're twists and turns. Some of them go backwards. They do loops. They do a lot of things. And they grab you and they throw you. They make you feel good inside with those mock G-forces that they can pull. I don't know how many of you have ever been on that swinging pirate ship at Knott's Berry Farm, but if you have, guys, you know exactly what I'm talking about when I'm talking about those G-forces. But a college football team should not be a roller coaster ride. I mean, yeah, you want to have fun during the season. However, I don't think it should be a bunch of ups and downs and woo, did you just see what we just escaped? No. You want nice, steady development. Keep going in one line. You want to keep going faster, building up momentum. And if you need to take an occasional loop or a left turn, right turn, great. But that shouldn't be what makes the ride fun, making those left turns and right turns. I get it. It's all about the journey. No, not when it comes to winning football games. I think Mason Cobb said it after the game. Well, while he was still really high on the emotion and the adrenaline and, that coming back and winning. He said he likes those types of games that USC just won. He doesn't like the easy blowout wins. Okay. I mean, I knew where he was coming from and what he meant, but look, when you're playing at home, you should never be down 17-0, especially when the other team is playing their backup quarterback. And he might be really talented, but when you're playing at home at the Coliseum, you don't go down 17-0. And it's not like USC turned the ball over and they scored on, a short field or anything like that. No, had nothing to do with that. So again, I understand wanting to know what it's like to win a close, tight game, knowing what your guys are capable of, coming together, that whole brotherhood thing. I get it. We've played sports. I've coached it. But I think maybe the better way to approach this, if I'm a USC defender, is I don't want to be the defense that allows a team that hasn't scored on their opening drive of a game since their first game of the year to score points on my defense. That's what Arizona did. Since their first game of the year, their first drive of the year against Northern Arizona, the Wildcats have been shut out 31-7 in the first quarter. They flipped the script. It was 10-0 Arizona over USC at the end of the first quarter. Giving up a field goal isn't a bad thing. Look, USC, their offense wasn't working. Arizona got the ball, drove the field. Defense stepped up, held them to a field goal. I don't have any problem with that. I just wasn't prepared to ride this roller coaster for 12 regular season games. The offense was really concerning. We're going to talk about the offensive identity in the next segment. But this is your defense. This is who you are. I mean, I don't know about you, but when I'm watching the game up there in the press box, I can actually see where and when these twists and turns and the grabbing at the stomach, where they're coming from. You can watch USC's defense line up, point, shift, move, and said, all right, here comes a run up the middle. There goes a run out to the outside because contain isn't going to be there. You can see the same mistakes happening game after game after game. So again, this is who your USC defense is in 2023. You're going to get, for instance, you're down 17-0. You get a big play from the defense. Jacoby Covington, he picks off a pass, takes it back well into the red zone. I don't remember exactly how far, maybe 6-yard line, something like that. And then the Trojans capitalize on the turnover. Caleb Williams, he ran it in. It was a 4-yard touchdown run, and that made the score 17-7 Arizona. USC did not score their first points until 9:43 left in the first half. This is 2 weeks in a row that the Trojans' defense has given up over 500 yards of offense. They're letting the opponent run up the middle, raw on them. And when the opponent's offense gets to the outside in one-on-one battles against a cornerback, a safety, even a linebacker, the Trojan defenders, they're the ones coming up short. Look, USC got through the first half of their schedule 6-0. That was the plan. That was the goal. Mission accomplished. These next 6 games are going to be much tougher than San Jose State, Nevada, Stanford, Colorado, Arizona State, Colorado, Arizona. We're now stepping into the meat. Notre Dame. If they put out this same type of effort that they did at home, or actually over these last few weeks, starting next Saturday in South Bend, Indiana, I'll tell you what, when you get off this roller coaster ride, you're probably going to be looking for the vomit bucket. I need this defense to be able to make more than a play, or be good for a quarter, maybe even 2 quarters in a row. Because I shudder to think, what does this team's record look like without Caleb Williams playing quarterback? And that's not a knock on Miller Moss, because he's a really, really, really good quarterback. And he'd probably be starting on 90% of the programs across the country. But I don't know if Miller is good enough for this USC team to make up for the defense, for the lack of development, or his own offense's inability to run the ball consistently. That's something that's really contributing to who is this USC offense? What is their identity? I questioned Lincoln Riley on that after the game Saturday. We're going to talk about that here in just a minute. I need you to step into the action. The NFL season is with us. FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers, you get $200 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place a $5 bet. That's $200 in bonus bets, win or lose. If you've been thinking about joining FanDuel, there is no better time to get in on the action than right now. The app, it's so easy to use, and there's a wide range of betting options that you can choose from, including you can bet the point spread. You can play those player prop bets. You can bet the over-under, and they got a whole lot more. Go check it out. So visit FanDuel.com/locked-on and kick off the NFL season. FanDuel, an official partner of the NFL. The Trojans offense right now, let's just be honest, 100. It's Caleb Williams and Caleb Williams. You've got some wide receivers out there putting up some good numbers. But remember, someone's got to get the ball to those wide receivers. And they're not always open. Colin Cowherd tweeted this, the following yesterday after the game at some point. Honest question. How good is USC without Caleb Williams? He's making up for a lot of average. When he doesn't play well, like the first half, you're not left with much you can depend on. Look, teams are going to have clunkers. I get that fully. This is college football. They are young adults. They got a lot going on in their lives. Caleb Williams has probably more going on in his life than any 5 people combined. Still, this is the 3rd week in a row where the car that Lincoln Riley and Caleb are driving, it's kind of putting down the road. USC's first possession, they went 3 and out, and then they punted. Oh, and by the way, that was the first time all season that the Trojans didn't score a touchdown on their opening drive. It was also the first of their 3 straight 3-and-outs on offense to start the game. Really? That's a carryover. Remember how USC's offense finished the Colorado game on the road? USC eventually got a first down, but it wasn't anything that they did. In fact, it was an 8-yard pass interference penalty on Arizona. Not even a 10-yard variety. Then, when USC was faced with another 3rd and 7, for whatever reason, the best play call that Lincoln Riley likes to dial up, or this is the one that Caleb is audibling to on the field, is going deep. Fade patterns down the sideline. The one-on-one coverage. That's not a high percentage throw. In essence, you're hoping for a pass interference penalty. This is the offense right now because it seems like the opponents found Superman's kryptonite, and that's flood the intermediate, middle, and flats with the defenders. Drop 7 and 8 because USC, they see it, they don't want to run against it, and all of a sudden Caleb's holding the ball too long because he can't find anybody open, and I'm watching. Guys aren't getting open. They're not getting separation. And he's either getting sacked, he's taken off and running, or he's throwing it away. Against Arizona in triple overtime, it took Caleb's legs for USC to survive. I mean, he had 1 touchdown pass. 1. USC put up 43 points. And even that 1 touchdown, it's pretty questionable depending on the angle of the replay that you saw. USC might have gotten 1 there. He started the game off 1 for 6 passing, 3 yards. If you've been following USC this season, you might be noticing a trend on offense. It's there. We already know about the defense and their struggles, especially with the scheme and just their basic fundamental understanding of tackling. They don't know how to do it still. However, offensively, the Trojans, they're either a big play right now, or they're struggling for any type of consistency and continuity. And that's despite still scoring 53 points per game. Usually when the run game isn't working, the Trojans passing game will find ways to pile up the points, right? That wasn't happening against Arizona. And the run game is off the rails. The O-line is a big part of it, big part of the problem, and it's not just one player. I just don't remember the exact result of the play. But there was one on one offensive series, Jonah Monheim, Emmanuel Prignon, and Justin Diedick were walking back to the line of scrimmage to line for another play, and both of them, Jonah and Justin, were given Emmanuel kind of attaboy pats on his helmet, on his butt. Like it kind of, I got the message. What they were saying is, "You do better next time, young man," was the message they were sending. It appeared that maybe he missed his assignment, and that's why the run game isn't working. It's a part of it. It's not the only thing. But USC got beat up at the line of scrimmage, both offensive line and defensive line, which to me was really curious. I didn't like that at all. So I told you at the top of the segment that I asked Coach Riley after the game why I didn't. Let me preface this. I asked him about the team's identity. This is how I prefaced the question. I asked Coach Riley after the game why the offense can't seem to find itself going back to the Colorado game. You couldn't even go further back to the Arizona State game if I wanted to. But I mean, last week it was the Trojans running game, and then this week the passing game was literally stymied. From the fourth quarter of USC's game in Boulder, Colorado, until the second quarter at the 9:43 mark, Lincoln Riley's offense failed to score a point. So I asked him, what is the offense's identity right now? I don't think he appreciated the question. And I understand it. As a head coach, you're going to get a little defensive when someone is calling you out on your play calling. I try to do it as respectfully as possible. But again, I think it was time for, hey, what's going on here? Because the team is not getting better weekly. Here was his answer. I think it might be the number one offense in the country right now. My expectations are higher than anybody's. I want to score every freaking time we have the ball. In reality, that's not going to happen. And you can either panic or you can get back on it. We didn't play our best tonight by any stretch, but one game to another, I wouldn't count us out just yet. I'm not counting this team out. I am in full support of Lincoln Riley. I wouldn't want any other head coach right now, especially with who they have on offense. With that said, there are things I would love to see done differently on offense, especially clock management. The play calling was really peculiar in this game. Never going to say that Lincoln Riley was outcoached. I will say that he was trying to find something that would work, and it wasn't. And eventually, they even started shuffling in other players that haven't been playing. So we'll see if that carries over. Next week in South Bend, USC plays like they did against Arizona at home. They're coming home with the L. I'll be back with another episode tomorrow, a more thorough breakdown of this game with quotes and some more strong opinion. So until then, everyone, you know what to do.